Fanfic Corner, presented by Jennifer. Not Another Day, Part 2. Hunter sucked in a sharp breath, holding it as he took a hesitant step towards the brother he thought he'd lost to the clouds on Etrida, now drifting limply in a suspended tank. He looked so broken, his skin pale, almost rivaling Echo's, but not quite as washed out, against the green glow of lights shining down on him like a captive animal in a cage. It was clear as the waters surrounding Pabu that he was hanging on to life by a string. There were too many tubes winding around his body, their unknown purpose keeping him from drifting away. It was horrible. I was saddened to learn about your friend's demise. What was his name? Oh yes, Tech. Hemlock knew. He knew, and yet with a straight face and steady, cold, calming voice, had the audacity to speak Tech's name and toss his brother's goggles to the ground without a care in the galaxy. Hunter didn't even want to think about how he got in possession of said goggles. Before, he assumed the doctor found them amongst the wreckage while searching for bodies. But now there was a possibility that the head scientist ripped them off his brother's barely functioning body before taking him to this hellhole, sticking him in a tank to prepare him for whatever cruel experiments he had planned. Or, in worst case, already had done. Hunter felt sick just thinking about it. Everything about Tariss was inhuman. How someone could perform such tests on a living being was beyond him. He thought the Kaminoans were bad, but compared to Hemlock and his scientists, they made the Kaminoans seem nurturing. Placing a hand on the cold glass, the sergeant stared up at the floating figure. His little brother was there, but gone at the same time. Crosshair had never seen Hunter in at such a loss for words. He half expected him to lash out in anger, or at least say something. But no sound came from the sergeant. The sniper debated stepping in, urging his old leader to speed up the process. But he couldn't bring himself to do so. His own lungs struggled to refill with oxygen at the sight of Tech's body. Guilt swarmed his conscience after the moment sank in. He had known Tech had been on Tariss had he known that Tech had been on Tariss the whole time, he would have done something. Knowing that Tech may have faced the same torture as him made his blood boil. Hunter, where are you? Both Hunter and Crosshair tore their gaze away from Tech as Echo's panicked voice filled the room. It seemed like time had paused on their unintentional, sickening discovery. Hunter raised his wrist, but still presented disbelief in his body, now transferring into his tone. Echo, you won't believe who we found. You can tell me when you're back on the Marauder. Hunter, you need to get out of there. The place won't be standing in the next 7 minutes. Hunter froze, immediately bringing a gloved palm to his forehead. Wrecker. Copy that. We'll be cutting it close. 7 minutes? 7 minutes to get Tech out of his glass prison. 7 minutes to get off the base. They could do it. They had to do it. Hunter could feel the tension from Echo through the line. He could clearly picture the Ark's sagging shoulders and dejected frown at the perilous situation. After a second, he finally heard a short sigh. I trust you get everyone out of there in one piece. Good luck, Hunter. Can he even be moved without, Crosshair asked, hesitant before touching any buttons that would remove Tech from his lifeline. We have to try. I'm not making the same mistake by leaving our own behind again. He shot the sniper a solemn look. Crosshair tensed. Those words echoed in his head more times than he would have liked to admit. Be prepared to catch and remove those tubes. A beat. A shriek. What the... Omega! Hunter sharply turned his head, eyes wide as they landed on Omega, pushing herself against the wall, frightening eyes meeting his own. Omega felt as if she had been dunked in ice water. The chill ran through her small body as the person she saw fall to his death was partly slung over Hunter's shoulder. Tech? Omega asked, sputtering over her words. The shock was just taking its course. No, Tech's dead. You said Tech was dead. She pointed a shaky finger at Hunter. Hunter, we don't have time for this. Crosshair bit out. Echo's warning continued to flash in his mind. Every second mattered. 4 minutes left. Omega, Hunter began softly. I promise to explain everything when we get back to the Marauder. But right now we need to leave, okay? Omega squeezed her eyes shut, trying as best she could to calm herself. Tech was here. How long had he been here? Could she have done anything to help him? Did Hemlock make her do something that would have hurt him without her knowing? Omega, we need to go, Hunter repeated, with the same comforting tone, but with a little more firmness. Get him. I got her. Crosshair swooped in, taking the child's hand in his grip, careful not to be too harsh. Let's go. Hunter readjusted Tech, wrapping an arm under his. Right behind you. Crosshair slid his helmet on, his fingers hovering over the button that would reintroduce them to the enemy. Anyone out there? Anyone out there? Hunter stilled himself, shutting his eyes to focus on the little sounds. No marching, no voices, no movement. Not that I can hear. Let's take that chance before it's over for all of us. Omega. Crosshair pulled out a familiar golden energy bow. We're going to have to defend Hunter and Tech. Can you do that? Omega clutched her weapon, feeling a sense of strength come back to her. Yes, sir. Good. Crosshair took lead, poking his head into the hall. Coast is clear. Omega, stay with me. If Hemlock's dead, who's the next in charge? Omega asked, trailing after the sniper. And do they even know that Hemlock's dead? Good question. Can't say I know the answer, kid. Crosshair reached the hangar entrance, motioning to both Hunter and Omega to go on either side. We can take Hemlock's ship and regroup with the others. How much time do we have, Hunter? The sergeant shifted uncomfortably. 2.5 minutes. Omega looked between them, confusion written on her all over her face. Until what? Nothing, kid. Hunter dismissed. Let's just focus on getting to the shuttle. There was no sense in making her worry more than she already was. Whenever you're ready, Cross. Hunter held Tech tighter as the sniper gave him a curt nod. The second door opened. Time seemed to stop. Loud shouts were heard coming from all directions as blaster shots fired, grazing armor as they whizzed by. Hunter kept his eyes on the shuttle at the far end of the hangar as time ticked by. Go, I'll watch your back, he heard Crosshair yell as he skidded to a stop, taking out his sniper rifle. He followed Omega as she sprinted towards the ship. They were so close to finally leaving the dreaded mountain. Once they approached the shuttle, Hunter felt another presence lingering at the ramp. Omega, wait, he called out. A woman dressed in white stepped out from the shadows, her identical brown eyes hidden by her goggles. Omega raised her bow, keeping the woman in front. Omega, the woman said softly, I've told you I'm not your enemy. Emir raised her hand in surrender, walking towards the clones. Hunter quickly found his blaster, raising it as he stood protectively behind Omega. Not another move, he warned. We're leaving on that ship. Step aside if you know what's best for you. Emir had a sad look on her face. She already knew how her story was going to end. I'm not here to stop you. If you haven't noticed the silence already, I have ordered the troopers to let you go. Now that she had pointed it out, Hunter and Omega turned around. Crosshair was now standing behind them. No more blasters were heard. No troopers had come near them. Emir fell to a knee, taking Omega's hand in hers. I'm sorry for everything, Omega. I wish I could have done more for you and your brothers. I do hope that one day you'll consider me your sister. Omega shook her head. Come with us, she begged. You don't have to stay here. The older female clone cracked a sad smile, rising to her feet. There is nothing left for me, young one. I have completed my career. A loud boom echoed from the base, shaking the ground with a bold rumble. You must go now. She ushered her sister up the ramp, stepping aside so Hunter and Tech could pass. Take care of them, Emir told Hunter with a glassy stare. With my life, Hunter promised. Thank you. Emir bowed her head, giving him one last look before walking away from the ship. Crosshair muttered something to himself before climbing after his brothers. Their survival would be proof of Emir's selfless act. Tensis was gone. Everything there now burnt to a crisp as if it never existed. Only the memories of those who were able to escape would carry the true horrors of the mountain base. Crosshair entered the cockpit to find both Hunter and Omega on either side of Tech. Will you wake up? Omega asked, looking up at the sergeant for answers that even he did not know. We'll just have to wait and see. Wait, kid. It could be a what